let's drink one more ale. But we won't burn down the tavern like the times we did before. It was not our fault, we swear honestly. But we'll do our dance at the tavern with the bards who've traveled far, and we'll ask them of the places they've seen. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink one more ale. I feel the cold of the world far outside, and the glory that soon could be ours. Let's form a team and we'll take to the wild, and we won't burn down the tavern. No, we won't burn down the tavern. No, we won't burn down the tavern. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink. But before we go, let's drink. But before we go, let's drink one more ale. We've come on down to the tavern for trouble and for fun, and to talk about the old prophecy. And we all sing songs at the tavern of the fights that we have won, and we dream about our next victory. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink one more ale. But we won't burn down the tavern like the times we did before. It was not our fault, we swear honestly. But we'll do our dance at the tavern with the bards who've traveled far, and we'll ask them of the places they've seen. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink one more ale. I feel the cold of the world far outside, and the glory that soon could be ours. Let's form a team and we'll take to the wild, and we won't burn down the tavern. No, we won't burn down the tavern. No, we won't burn down the tavern. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain, but before we go, let's drink. But before we go, let's drink. But before we go, let's drink one more ale. From the depths of the dungeons to the tavern brawls, save the king, killed the giants. We've been through it all. I could fill up a tome, but you're not coming home. Well, we all saw it happen. We're the ones promise you say, gonna light you a candle, gonna tell your tale by the light of the moon. We'll remember you, dying to hear. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Our adventures together went to hell and back. Spent the day slaying dragons and escaping traps, but massive damage is done. Now you're really gone. But we'll remember you, dying to hear. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? We'll remember you, dying to hear. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane?
Hello, team. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, we just started and already my camera's not wanting to work. Wow. I think it's this new dock I have. Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Okay, well, we'll use this one for now. I hope you're all having a fantastic Thursday. I'm excited to dive into all the posts that y'all tagged. Let's go ahead and see what we got. Let's pull this open. Okay. Look at that. Yeah, audio working on the first try. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. So our first one is going to be from Cassidy Frazee. Cassidy Frazee. You're going to be the first piece of content where we review. All right. Okay. And I'll go ahead and share this. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Okay. And you should all be able to see this. All right. start it at the very beginning. And let me know in chat if you can hear it. Last time you could. I don't know if anything's changed, but, let me know.
Why hire a professional DM? Why indeed? A professional DM is going to give you the best gaming experience that you can handle. At least that's our hope. We always try to set out to do that sort of stuff. And one of the reasons we do it is because we know you, the player, is paying for the experience. After all, we buy books, we buy dice, we buy paper, we buy computers on which we run our games. And we do all this because we love what we do. We love being DMs. It's a slice of life, so to speak. So give us a chance. We can make your gaming experience one of the best you've ever had. That's our goal. That's what we set out to do. That's our job.
Okay, great. No, we don't want to autoplay. So my feedback here is this is really good. I saw that you went for a kind of unique subtitles. I think that's fine. Halfway through, you had way more energy in the video than you did in the very beginning. And I think if you can try to find that middle of the road energy that you had and heighten it even more, because you're talking about something that's fun. You're talking about something that's exciting. Your tone and your presence should match that. So if I'm saying like, hey, you'll get to play in a game, it'll be really fun, we'll make everything happen, or like you get to play in a game, it's going to be a ton of fun. Like a little bit more energy will make that video pop that much more. The second, you're selling it with a maybe. If you're trying to sell people on professional DMing, you don't need to convince people. Right. The thing is, there's people that are like, oh, I understand this, and there's people that like can be swayed, but they're not going to become purchasers largely. Right. So instead, I would focus on what can I tell this person that makes them want to get in a game. But that's more about the content, right? Let's see. But what I would say is bring a little bit more energy to that. And you had a lot of interesting transitions. I would just go with cuts because that looks a little too highly produced for the rest of the video, right? You have this very fancy transition, but then you have a very kind of like basic video of just talking to the phone. So I would more focus on cuts and just kind of changing where you are standing instead of those fancy transitions. Can you place the camera higher? I think it would improve the video by placing the camera a little higher, closer to eye level. You mean my camera, Nico? Unfortunately, I can't. It's a laptop camera because the really nice camera just isn't working with the dock. So I have to use this one, but I'll clean it though. Okay. Let's go and look at our next video. Rhett, this is your video. Oh, the video creator. Yeah, sometimes having it a little higher, just like this guy. Okay, let's go and look at our next video. Let's see. Let's go to next. All right.
Big party? No problem. Here's 3 tips to help you manage parties of 5 or more. Tip number 1, talk less, smile more. With 6 or more people at the table, there's going to be a lot of conversation going on, and you as the DM don't need to interject yourself to keep things moving along. Let the players handle that while you take a backseat. Tip number 2, manage combat more effectively. I use Foundry VTT to auto-roll initiative, automate rolls, and make things go a lot faster. If you're playing a home game where you don't have these sort of online tools, there are still some apps and programs that can help, but you need to talk to your players about being ready when their turn comes in combat to make sure things keep flowing smoothly. Tip number 3, beef up those monsters. 1 monster, 6 party members means dead monster fast. It's going to be an anticlimactic battle. You need to beef them up with legendary actions, legendary resistances, and special abilities early on in the campaign in order to make up for that imbalance. Hope these tips helped. If you have any suggestions yourself, drop them in the comments. I'd love to.
Okay, really good. What happened here is Rhett asked people to engage in the comments. No one has yet, but asking folks to comment. If you can ask the right thing that gets a lot of people to comment, more comments mean more organic distribution. So getting people to comment is always great. The other thing is you see there's a lot of variety where the camera is. It cuts in, it cuts out. Rhett has a lot of high energy here. This is really, really good. I would say the only other thing is I would have added in, when he was talking about Foundry, I would have added in some of that Foundry footage, whether recorded from a screen, while you voice over. That's probably the only thing I would have added to this. It's really good. Maybe you could have added something about that your party or your D&D party is big, so that people that are watching this know that it's about D&D right away. The other thing I would have done is I would have put text over you at the very top that isn't your subtitles. That is something that people can read. That is another another piece of content in that first 3 seconds for them to read. So like for D&D parties of 6+ or more, right? If that was in text above you and then you're talking, do you have a big party? People read that. I think that combination would have been perfect. So I would think about adding some text above you that is for like the first 3 seconds that kind of talks about what your video is about. Besides that, primo. Let's see. We're going to now see. Now this... This person sent a bunch of videos, and so I didn't have a clean copy paste. So I don't know who this is because I didn't put it in my notes, but we'll find out right now. Okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, of course, it's a different layout because it's YouTube Shorts. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Come on. Come on.
Is now about why I have a rule of not killing player characters and what I do instead. But there are still times when it's good to keep the option open. So when I run my table, I have a whole mini-series now about why I have a rule of not killing player characters and what I do instead. But there are still times when it's good to keep the option open. So when I run my table, I have these 3 exceptions to my rule. 1, if the player asks for it. If a player wants to move on to another character and wants to do it with a death scene, then I can make that happen. Though I'll usually try and see if we can't fix their underlying problem first. 2, if it's the right end to that character's story. Sometimes a character dies before the end of the story, and that's what makes their story special. If I see the chance for a character's death to be the big moment it deserves to be, I'll let it happen. Though I do pull the player aside and give them the chance to veto that. 3, the big one. The final confrontation. When you hit that big ending scene and everything is on the line, the gloves come off. It's time to do or die.
Okay, cool. HD Dimension. Really good stuff. What I like here is you did a great job of leveraging green screen. I would try to leverage green screen more, taking up the entire screen rather than just part of it. I liked what you were doing with changing up the music each time you talked. That's really good. The things I would have added here is when you go through the cycles, I would have added titles to each one. I would have a title in the beginning, just like I was talking about Rhett, and I'd maybe move your captions down so you have that room for the titles at the top. So a green screen that takes up the entire back of the video, so you don't have the black on the top and the black on the bottom. And then what you do with the music was really good. I think if you could maybe get to a place where the room isn't as open to maybe get your audio a little bit better, because it was competing with the music. But what you did was really good. I really liked how you had that different music that you were trying to line up with each section. That's good stuff. So those are the feedback I have here. I think you're doing really great. This is 5x better than last week. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here. We got GM Joe. GM Joe, you're up next. Oh, you stupid YouTube. Come on.
Ahoy, mateys! Jim Joe here. Have you ever wanted to sail the 7 seas in Dungeons and Dragons and have a mighty pirate adventure? Well, if you look up GM Joe 1975 over on startplaying.com for just $10 a session, Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can have an adventure led by a DM that actually sailed the seven seas. Hey!
So this is more about content, but we have like a single shot that's continuous. We really want to work on like breaking those shots up to keep visual engagement, right? To keep people engaged, because we know that like on average, people's attention span is going to waver every 3 to 5 seconds, right? So if you could cut this up where you're in different positions, kind of like what we saw with Rhett, so you can cut in, cut out, is really good. The other thing here is you are asking someone to do something, but you're not giving them something, right? A great social post, and what works really well is you're giving someone something. So it's a tip. You're talking about a story. You're giving something that is authentic. But this is saying like, hey, you want to play this game? Go to here, right? To get that, you need to get people interested in your content in the first place. So talking about without selling the pirate game to begin with. For example, you can't walk up to someone who you're meeting at a dinner party and say, let me sell you this house, right? If you're a realtor, you got to meet the person, you got to talk to them. So same thing with anything, right? You can't start with a sale. If people come to you, that's when you can start selling, right? Because they come to you and they're like, oh, I want to know more about this game. Cool. Well, if you want to know more about the game, check me out here, right? You need to hook them with something. So this is more about the content, right? If you want to sell, you can't start off with waving the sign, right? You have to get someone's attention by like being an authority, showing why someone would even want to like follow you. So if you were talking about pirates, you like, talk about why your pirate game is great, or maybe show off some pirate maps, or maybe talk about the different pirate NPCs. Anything that then, if someone is interested in pirate stuff, is going to like it and is going to want to comment or want to see more of your stuff. And then those people say like, oh, well, tell me about your game. They might ask something, and then that's your opportunity to then engage with them. It's like, oh yeah, I run these games and start playing. That is kind of what I would lead with. And also, if you guys have questions while I'm going through this, please just do the same thing where you type question in all caps and then the question. I don't know, GM Joe, I don't know if you're in here right now, but if you are, feel free to ask any questions. But I hope this was helpful, where it's more like, hey, this is more like the content rather than what you've created, because you filmed it in the right way. I would say, again, add the titles, add a little more visual engagement. But we need to think about like, how are we selling, right? Which is a whole different aspect. The content we're making, we need to make something that gives the viewer something. It rewards them, or it gives them something that is what they are looking for, and we don't want to sell right away. Now it's different for Start Playing, because Start Playing, like our whole thing is we will create content around the problem, right? And creating content around the problem is how you can help solve someone's thing. So we say, like, if you spent hours looking through Discord trying to find a D&D game, are you tired of scouring Reddit? And the people who see that, they're like, oh yeah, that's me. Then they're interested because they have that problem. And they say, like, we fix that problem. And they're like, oh, well, what do you mean you fix that problem? And then we talk about Start Playing. So that's how that sale works, is like we've addressed the problem and now we're giving them a solution. Piper Swim, love the dinner party analogy. Super relatable. Thank you so much. I was actually thinking about that late last night. Okay. We have Jim Balog. This is a TikTok.
Be the main
All right.
character of your campaign. Be the main character of your campaign.
Be the main character that gets everybody else involved, that keeps things moving in a way where everyone gets to participate.
Let the bro, let the bard.
Even if you're playing a selfish character, you can play them in a way that is making sure the right people are getting into the challenges, because it's in their best self-interest that things get done right. As different characters face different challenges, have your character suggest who might be the best to handle that.
Don't let the barbarian be the face of the party.
Or if someone like the barbarian with low charisma becomes the face, have your character be the one that goes up to the one who maybe is really good at it, and you're having a side conversation, kind of making fun of them, saying, oh, let's watch what this is going on, waiting for that opportunity to jump in. But imagine if everybody did that. Everybody to your table came and tried to be the main characters that were trying to get everybody else involved, even through their own personalities, whether it be sarcastic or any other type of personality that they have, like art department.
Fantastic. Really good stuff. One, we got to get rid of that CapCut. We got to delete that CapCut. When you edit on CapCut, you can just go to the end of the timeline. You can just delete this. You don't need it. It doesn't have to be there because you have the free version. You could just go and delete it. Because like I was deleting it before I had Pro, and maybe that's changed. Let me know if I'm out of touch. But I'm pretty sure you can still delete it even with the free version. But let's delete that. I would again add that title in the very beginning. The content was really good. I liked that you had your partner kind of voicing in on the side. I would maybe get them a little closer to the mic, to the phone next time so that we pick up their audio a little bit better. But this is really solid. Continue making content like this. I think it's going to do very well. This is the type of content you want to be working on. You did a lot of good job of pushing in sometimes, pushing out. Keep that up. You can still delete. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. Okay, now I have to go to the social media mastermind link. I have to find all of these. Okay, so we got all right. We got next. We have DM Ethan. DM Ethan. DM Ethan. We got an Instagram reel. Okay.
Maps you find online is going to be horrible for your D&D game. Most of the maps you find online are going to be like the one in my background here, where it's nice, it's colorful, and it looks great. This is actually only going to work for a certain type of player, although they are pretty common. And this might be you too, where you like the look and feel of things. Maybe you have colorful, nice dice. Maybe you like to have fog. Maybe you like to have music in your game. This basically means that you are a sensory preference character. That means that you like to have your senses engaged. However, I think it's a shame to only engage with that part of the game, because D&D at its core has a ton of rules, and tactical gameplay is there if you know how to capitalize on it. Unfortunately, what you're going to find is that most of these maps focus on the sensory aspect. They look nice, but they don't have any actual tactical gameplay. So instead, check out this map behind me. As you can see, it is just black and white. It's really not going to engage the senses at all. But there are some very specific things. If you start your party in the middle here, and then you put some enemies up on the ridge, if the party wants to engage with those enemies, they will start to face some tactical challenges. First, let's say that you are a melee character. You want to run up and hit the enemies on the ridge. Well, you're going to have to spend at least one turn moving through rough terrain and climbing, which is also half speed, just to reach the characters. What this forces your players to do is think of a secondary tactic. In this case, if they spend their entire turn moving, they will do no damage. Not every map creator out there falls into this trap. Some map creators are making very tactical maps. If you know of some of them, feel free to tag them in the comments. And if you are going to design your own maps, one thing to think about is first, what would the characters do in the combat that would break out in this map? And what is one element that I could introduce to counteract that initial strategy? Anyways, I hope this helps you with your combat and picking the right map for your game. If you want more insights and tips like these, then definitely like and follow my page. Using any of the maps you find online is going to be horrible.
Really good stuff. You have a title right here, how to make your maps better in D&D. I would have made that bigger. But overall, there's not a lot of notes I have to give to you on this, DM Ethan. This is really more about like you finding the right content that's going to resonate with your audience. But the way you're making your content is really good. It is following a lot of the right principles. There's a few things that you could do that I could suggest, but you're doing a lot right here. So like I said, the title, fix that. Also, the most interesting thing I saw in that video was the different aesthetics of play, right? Or the 8. I thought that was really interesting. I actually was hoping you were going to talk more about that, but I think there's a lot more videos you can make there. But that's really, really good. So I would think about like where you put your titles. You had a really nice visual hook. Everyone saw that the zoom in started right there. And using maps you find online is going to be horrible. Like that's a really controversial like grab, right? So we all wanted to like, okay, what are you talking about? So I think this is really good. I think overall, like if you continue making content the way you have, using these tactics and using right content, you'll find your audience. Let's see. Question, you said before we should hold our phones for filming, but I'm finding it really interferes with the process. Is it a hard rule or is it okay to get a stand? It's okay to get a stand, but it'll take away from a bit of your authenticity, right? When you're holding it, like let's go back here.
Horrible for your D&D game. Most of the maps you find online are going to be like the one in my background here, where it's nice, it's colorful, and it looks great. This is actually only going to work for a certain type of player, although they are pretty common, and this might be you too.
This kind of thing is just, it leads to a lot of authenticity, which works for a lot of people. But you don't have to, these are tips, right? If you don't want to take it, you don't have to. You can get a stand and do everything stand, but then you have to get really good about static shots. You have to move around. You have to change the background. You have to throw up a green screen every now and then. You have to be very, very specific, or you have to put a lot of energy into kind of changing the environment that your static video is on. Okay, let's go to next is gonna be Dragons of Dice. Dragons of Dice. Nope, did not copy. Copy. Okay.
During my past decade is both a no D&D is better than bad D&D. During my past decade is
Okay, so one, we already should have changed our background. Because you got across your bit, and we should move into something else as far as your image that you're voicing over.
both a GM and player. I've seen and heard my fair share of RPG horror stories. In fact, I have personally advocated on behalf of other players before. But past a certain point, if you've tried communicating to whomever is causing you to be uncomfortable, be in distress, or whatever else is causing the issues at the table, you still have an option available to you. You can just leave the table. But sure, that's easy to say, not always so easy to do. Maybe everybody at the table is your friend. Maybe you're worried about hurting their feelings, or any other number of reasons that it would be difficult to leave the table. But the matter of the fact is, playing a game that should be fun in your free time should not be mentally draining for you. What's best for yourself, be your own best friend, and just bow out of the table. No D&D is better than...
Okay, so Dragon of Dice, fantastic turnaround from what we were looking at last week. Really good job. You took all the notes and you're really applying them. So first off, really impressed there. We need to change our visual imagery more if it's just going to be voiceover. So that's the first feedback. The content is really good. The content is great. No D&D is better than bad D&D. That's a really good hook. So far, great. I would work on getting to the heart of the video faster. There was some meandering a little bit in the middle of it that almost kind of lost me. So I would, and what that means is if we go back in here.
I have personally advocated on behalf of other players before. But past a certain point, if you've tried communicating to whomever is causing you to be uncomfortable,
I feel you could have said this entire section within like 3 sentences. And so the goal, like one of the great things when, people are working under a minute is you have to like cut out the fluff, right? You have to really condense things. You have to figure out how to deliver your information as quick as possible. So that's what I would have suggested here. The content is good though. The overall idea of the video, what you've applied as having these the different images.
no D&D is better than bad D&D. During my past decade is both
good. Dragons of Dice, congratulations. You're definitely leveling up. Okay. Okay, here is the one that Mena wants me to review. Or Mena?
Does your RPG campaign's culture have a counterculture? Because it needs one. And not just a faceless resistance, but a culture that clashes with the status quo. If you want a vibrant culture that feels alive, you need people who take one look at those norms, put on a beret, and peace out. A counterculture is a group of people who stand at odds with the dominant culture's ideas and beliefs. It is not the same as a subculture. A subculture may challenge or question the culture that they're a part of, but at the end of the day, most of their ideals will pretty much be consistent with the main culture. The counterculture is actively at odds with the important parts of the culture that it comes from. They want to live separate. They want to do their own thing. They don't want to answer to that larger culture that they come from. How about a micro example? God elves? How about a group of high elves that reject immortality? They have seen the brilliance that's in the short-lived races and the way that they burn. They idealize. So these elves live fast and hard, challenging death at every turn and rejecting the slow, pastoral lives of their ancestors. Ooh. Well, that's fun. I should do something more with that. Oh, and play indie games.
Okay, so This is really good, but our visual change is just this effect that you have going, right? We're going to need something more. What I would suggest is when you're like this counterculture, this video, I would have been great if you had start showing, B-roll or not voiceovers, but you had assets that you were voicing over of different countercultures, cafe racers, mods, the hippies, and then even going outside of Western society and like what was the counterculture in the early 1900s of Asia, like that would have been really good. That would have been a nice visual. And then you were talking about elves, you could put that in there. But since you're not changing, you're not coming closer, you're not moving the camera around, the camera is static. I would put in some stuff that would go over that. The content was really good. It was a little quiet, and I know that you had a mic last time. So I maybe work on maybe getting a little closer or just making sure that like your volume was loud enough. But that video was really good. The content was really interesting. And I would probably put a more clear title in the very beginning. But I'm just rehashing that we've talked with everyone. Playful Zealot. Yeah, you can just use whatever you want. Because you're not selling anything, right? So you can really just kind of use whatever you want for the most part. I mean, if you, and part of this week's homework will kind of cover a lot of that. But yeah, you can just, use whatever's clever. You can just go to also just image search and just grab some images. Let's see. How do you balance social media with practices with being authentic? DM Ethan, I talk about things that I am interested in is one of the big things. And, you try to be vulnerable and say when you screw up. Or say like things that scare you or things like that. Vulnerability leads to a lot of authenticity, but also just how you film things leads to authenticity as well. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's see who we got next. All right, Dreams. Here we go, Dreams. Let's open this one up.
Where are we? This question sets the tone for everything to come. Are the characters in a seedy tavern with the scent of stale ale and the low murmur of patrons? Are they in a bustling city square with the clamor of merchants hawking their wares blending with the distant temple bells? The where isn't just a location, it's a sensory gateway. It paints the picture, defines the atmosphere, and invites the players to step inside the world. Think of it like a stage for your story. Don't just say where, show where. Make it a breathing, living part of the adventure. Where are we?
Okay, cool. I really like what we're doing here, but I think the video game B-roll isn't maybe appropriate for what you're doing here. Now, excuse me. I would probably have leaned on something kind of what Dragons of Dice did with the different images that are kind of rotating through as you're talking about things. I think that would have been a lot stronger for this because we would have had a visual for what you're talking about. And again, I would have thrown up the title at the very beginning. But so, for example, where are we?
This question sets the tone for everything to come. Are the characters in a seedy tavern with the scent of stale ale?
So we have, a seedy tavern. You can kind of like zoom in slowly on the seedy tavern.
And the low murmur of patrons.
Then you can have another asset that just shows maybe some, patrons in the corner, like, slowly planning the demise of another player.
Are they in a bustling city square?
We show a bustling city square.
Where, with the clamor of merchants hawking their wares blending with the distant temple bells?
And see, right there, it sounded like you were reading from it, and you almost kind of stumbled over it, because we had like this high energy, and then it kind of slows when it goes from like the this line right here.
Blending with the distant temple bells.
With the distant so. And it's just I mean, these are just little things, right? They're not massive, but I would have leaned away from a video game B-roll because someone might be scrolling through and they see this and they think, oh, this is about video games, not about play by post or role playing games. So that part is kind of unclear because of how we've listed. Also, it says expand your role play post location, hashtag shorts. I would get rid of using hashtags. I wouldn't use hashtags. I would focus on just writing a caption that really kind of encapsulates what you're talking about. Describing and telling about locations you're in play-by-post games, in tabletop RPG play-by-post games is incredibly impactful, right? I would be very clear on the caption if the video isn't super clear. Let's see. So that actually isn't what puts it onto YouTube. You don't need to use the hashtag shorts, unless that's changed, but I don't think any of my videos have hashtag shorts on it. Let's see. Yeah, this one doesn't have it. So I think it's it might just be like when you make it, it has it there, but just delete those. Okay, let's see what else we got. Nico is giving me this one to review. Let's see, do they have any questions? All right.
D&D trip people. Spellcasting components in D&D trip people up, but it's not that complicated. In the spell description, where it says components DSM, spellcasting components in D&D trip people up, but it's not that complicated. In the spell description, where it says components DSM, V just stands for verbal. It's the magic words that you say, like abracadabra. S just stands for somatic. Soma means body in Greek, so it's how you move your body around when you cast the spell. M stands for material components, but 9 times out of 10, if you're a spellcaster, the spellcasting feature of your class will state that you could use an arcane focus instead of using material components. In fact, the only time material components matter is if it states a cost, like a diamond worth 1,000 gold pieces. Because now you have to spend gold to cast that spell, and that has a mechanical effect on the game. So in a nutshell, spellcasting in D&D is basically as simple as bibbidi bobbidi boo. Boop. I'm Nico DeGaio, and this has been Spicy Dice.
Okay, great. There's so much that's good here. The only thing I would have suggested, as far as the content, as I would have, you did something with abracadabra, right? I would have done something with a visual, or with the semantic, like something from the Magicians or something from, Doctor Weird or Doctor Strange. I'm kidding. I knew who it was. So, and if you in like a little bit of herbs and like sprinkle it when you talk about material, just for like some visual flair. But for the most part, this is a really good idea. You kept it high energy. You didn't talk about who you were or anything till the end, right? I think the other thing we could have gone in here is the end didn't ask people to kind of comment, and I think if we kind of added that, we would have seen like maybe an uptick. Unless, did I miss something? Let's see.
D is basically as simple as bibbidi bobbidi boo. Boop. I'm Nico DeGaio, and this has been Spicy Dice.
So I would have used that last bit just to like ask people to engage in some way and talk about it and think about like what could you have asked about like visual, semantic, material, what's your favorite spell component, or spell components are arcane focus, or what's the best use of an arcane focus, etc. But this is very, very good. This is very, very good. I'm trying to find feedback for everyone, and this is a very, very good video. Okay. Nico asks questions. So, like the prop work or cuts or other footage, for example, like the sprinkle herb suggestion you made. Yeah, I would have just grabbed some oregano from my thing and just sprinkled it. And I was like done this or something, just as like a quick aside. That would have been fun. But yeah, great stuff. Okay, let's see what else we got. GM Chris. Okay.
Combat turn in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to give you 4 things. I'm going to give you 4 things you can do during a combat turn in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay,
that
I think we had it.
Actually,
see.
I'm going to give you 4 things you can.
That breathe in. That's that millennial pause. I'm
going to give you.
We gotta get rid of that. We gotta get right into. See, right?
I'm going to give you four
There we
things
go.
you can
So
do
that, like, it's
during
like
a
a half
combat turn
second.
in Dungeons and Dragons that isn't actually an attack or a spell. Number one, you can dash. So if you can move 30 feet, you can use the dash action to move an additional 30 feet on your action instead of attacking. Number two, you can dodge, which means that anybody trying to attack you now has to do it with disadvantage. Number three, you can disengage. So if you're going toe to toe with somebody and you're like, I got to get out of this fight because I'm going to lose, if you use the disengage action, they can't hit you with an opportunity attack. Number four, you can help, which is actually one of the best actions. If you're next to your barbarian and he's laying down massive amounts of damage, but you've got no spells left, you could try distracting the guy he's attacking, giving the help action to the barbarian. Your barbarian now gets to hit with advantage.
Really good.
I'm going to give you four things.
Let's throw up that title originally, right? The title above you.
You can do during a combat turn.
And I would say like four things you can do. I would just go straight into four things rather than I'm going to give you.
In Dungeons and Dragons that isn't actually an attack or a spell.
Yeah, really good stuff. I think the only other thing you could have done here to add some visuals, since we're pretty much on you and it's a very like static shot, is adding in some visuals, whether that be some like B graphics that are you're voicing over. Besides that, this is really good. Let's get rid of that millennial pause though. Remember, I listen. I do it every time I film. I just have to edit it out. Tafandra, yeah. I mean, like I edit a lot on my phone. I'm able to see those pauses and edit because what you can do. I'm gonna show you this quick on CapCut. Let's see. Okay, skip. Okay. So we have this video here, right? If I take two fingers, sorry, there we go. I take two fingers, go like this. I'm actually expanding the video. I've actually made it so it's much, there's much more room to edit. So using two fingers, you can expand this video so you can find more direct places to cut. So, God, I wasn't talking in here. So if you use two fingers on CapCut, you can expand your video or make it smaller, and that makes it a lot easier to cut out certain bits of footage. And then you can just find the cursor and then hit cut there. Yeah, you get the view. Where was I? Okay, yes. Next. We have. Oh, nope. I did the wrong one, Chris. I'm sorry. This is the one that Chris sent me. Okay.
Drop the ball on this one. Wizards of the Coast drop the ball on this one spell. It's like their QA department just went, advantage, disadvantage, it's all the same, don't worry about it. Actually, the math behind Silvery Barbs will show you it's not even close. If you've got a d20 and your target's a 15, you've got a 30% chance of rolling it. If you get advantage, that 30% goes up to 51% chance. It's almost like every one out of two rolls should pass. If you get somebody disadvantaged, though, this is where it becomes a problem. That 30% chance of success on a 15 or higher becomes a 9% chance. So 1 out of every 10 rolls, approximately. A couple of things they might have been able to do to make it work. Maybe make it a concentration spell, make it a level 2 or level 3 spell, not a level 1 spell that requires no concentration, is based on reaction.
Okay, this is really good. This is really good. I would have asked for comments of some form, asked for engagement. There was no millennial pause on this one. You're holding it, you're in the car. This is good. I would have thrown up a title. You had these cool graphics of the math being done. I think that was great. So I think this is a really great direction, Jim, Chris. Congratulations. Okay. You have tried to... Oh, am I frozen? No, I'm just sorry. I was reading your comments here. Okay, let's see. Who do we have next? Dragon of Dice says, do you think content that presents an immediate affront is liable to make it more enticing to viewers? Dragon of Dice, give me an example of what you're thinking. Okay. This is the next one.
Want to level up your DMing? My top tips as a pro GM. Be flexible. Players are never going to stick to the plan. Embrace the chaos. No, you can do that. You just roll 2. Speed up that combat. Knowing your monsters, telling your players to plan ahead.
Okay, sorry. Looks like my computer crashed. I'm doing this on a laptop, so mind you. Let's go ahead and open that again. I'm waiting for Discord too. Discord's downloading an update. Okay, fantastic. Well, now we have to just sit and wait for Discord to force quit. Oh, it's not responding. Okay. Let's see if I can find this. Okay. We got some questions. Question related to Dragon's question. If I had a video that got around 200 views when my others did not, because of the topic I'm assuming, which I'm not even sure I can post here, lol. Philomenia Young. So one of the things is you continue making content, you see what does really well, and then you try to double down on what does well. But I don't know what we are referencing here when you say that. So I don't know how much I can really offer you, not knowing what the what the real question is. Oh my gosh, come on. Not responding? Okay, all right, let's try this again. Reopen. Come on, Discord. DM Ethan, I would test everything. I would, like, what does well, maybe 3 to 1, 3 of what does well in one test. If someone could actually post the last video in chat, that'd be great. Actually, I don't know if chat will even allow links. I think it would. Because for some reason, Discord is just having a nightmare of a time trying to download. Dragon of Dice question, Ari, my more positive and meme videos got about half the views as something that could be perceived as more controversial topic with a higher potential for negative associations. So controversial stuff always does better because it gets people talking and it gets people like, well, I don't know if I agree with this, and then it's you convince them with the video. So that stuff will always do better. What I would suggest is you can have a controversial topic, but then you can lead it in a good direction. So you're always gonna have a mix of that. I don't like to lead with too much controversial stuff, but there's always gonna be an audience for that, and so you don't want to lead folks into rage baiting, so to say. Okay. Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's still loading. Okay, there we go. It updated. All right. There we go. All right, we were on. Let's find the GM that we were on. Okay, here we go. Okay, no BS. Okay.
Just roll 2. Speed up that combat. Knowing your monsters, telling your players to plan ahead and to know. Want to level up your DMing? My top tips as a pro GM. 2.
This is where we were.
Speed up that combat. Knowing your monsters, telling your players to plan ahead and to know their spells. Dragon attacks, hits, and does 800 damage. You're all dead. 3. Memorable NPCs. Give your NPCs a unique trait like an accent, a quirk, a catchphrase. Prolic here from the Allegiance of Allsight. Barf, the Goblin. Well, I'm Orvex. You know me. Pontificus Archibald Theodore III. Let me know what your top tips are. Drop your favorite DM tips in the.
Okay, so this, too much in the video. Each one of these could have been its own video. You're trying to pack a lot into a very short amount of time, and I think you could get more juice out of the squeeze if you made each of these its own video, because you can make it under a minute. You could expand on a little bit more. You're changing things up. You're like the way you're filming it. All that stuff's really, really good. If we start at the very beginning, quick DM top tips.
Want to level up your DMing? My top tips as a pro GM.
What you could have done is like are you too rigid as a GM? Or rigid DMs are bad. And you could have then gone into like, here's my top tip for a DM, be flexible. So you could have gotten something that kind of like got the controversy, got the attention, right? Saying like, I think this is bad. And then you say like, here's my tip. And then you can go into like why being flexible is great. And like, several examples of being flexible as a GM. That's what I would have changed for here. But you got 35 likes, you got 6 comments, you got a favorite. So this is resonating with some of your audience. Especially when we look, if we look to see the account has 12 followers. So yeah, so this, that got picked up. Okay, next. We have this is Dungeoneer 80. All right.
With the party in D&D. If you're afraid to split the party in D&D, don't be. Here are a few tricks for running simultaneous stories. The first thing to do is use location initiative. So let's say you have one player at the tavern getting information from the Baron, a second one at a warehouse breaking in for info, and a third one jumped in an alley trying to fight for their lives, with each story beat. When you're at the tavern, you get a piece of information, move to the warehouse. As they sneak in a little further, move over to the fight, where they stab or dodge. Change the music for each scene. Have a lively tavern going, and then an intrigue in the warehouse, and then deadly drums for the fight. If you can, end each beat on a cliffhanger. Let the player roll for whatever it is they're trying to do, and pause right there and move to the next scene. It keeps the tension alive and the anticipation fiery. If you're afraid to split the...
Cool. So I would say like, I would even say like, something more country like split the party, every chance you get, or something like that. Throw up the title here. This is a good video. I would say some more visual changes. I like how you had the little different titles. You could have done that in a really creative way, where you could have like maybe had like post-it notes, and that you're actually filming forward facing camera and moving around the room. But generally this video has the right stuff. I would continue kind of just refining those things, try to find ways to make visual differences. You added in some good graphics here. You had some kind of fly-ins. Sometimes you might want to do more like overlays, so that you're voicing over graphics, or you're just finding a unique way to present that information. But this is on the right path, Playful Zealot. Okay, let's see what else we got. We got Rainbow Pigeon. Okay, we have 2 more after this. Okay, I was gonna say we have so many. I didn't know we had so many people make it. Okay.
Want to easily make a character? Hey gamers! Want to easily make a character who feels rich, deep, complex?
Okay, first, we don't need to see Hey Gamers, right? Because we're hoping that the people who are watching this, so we want to kind of avoid the, I guess, pleasantries.
Comes complete with a character backstory that will leave your GM with plenty of ideas. Then follow along with me as we play the game of 20 questions. Dun dun dun. Let's get started. Question 1. What country is your character from? In your setting, this could mean
So this is really cool. I like this idea. I would have gotten to the questions way sooner. Like, tell me about your character. Here's 20 questions, and just go. Because I can see so many comments of people, and then like going through like, you know, answer whatever question you want in the comment with whatever answer you like. This is a really cool idea. I like this.
Planet, continent, village, what part of the larger scale setting does your character call home? How does that affect their outlook on life? And while you think about this, also consider race and ethnicity. In the United States, for example, we have 100 bazillion different cultures, so just describing your character as American wouldn't tell someone else as much about the character as saying that they're a U.S. citizen of Italian and African American descent living in Boston. Or whatever. And the last step, whatever you decide, write it down. No, like right now, before you go to the next video. Trust me. Hey gamers.
Great. I love this. You did a lot of visual differences. I would have again thrown up a title, but this is in the right direction. We want to get to the action a little bit sooner though, so I would have gotten to that 20 questions way faster. Okay. Here we go. We got Marduker is next. Okay. It's okay for a meme. There was a great question in chat that was like, should we prioritize views or should we prioritize community? And it's going to be a balance, right? You want to be able to like prioritize views for your community. So memes won't grow your community, right? Because memes are people like, I like memes, right? They don't know anything about you. They might not care about you. So memes could get you a lot of views, but it doesn't get you community. So when you prioritize views on content that is authentic, on content that's you talking about something, those views will usually probably help create your community. So it's all about how you follow that. This is a fine meme. But I would have led your comment was like, let me go with what I did best. I would have said, I would have given me what did worst, because then we could have talked about what could have done better. But this is fine. I mean, it's a fine meme, you know. I there's not like much feedback I can give on memes, because memes are just kind of subjective, you know, silly fun things. Okay, let's see. We have Suan. Suan is next. Okay. Okay.
GM, they're gonna thank you for it. Number 1, ask an unexpected question about the setting that you're in. They've probably crafted this world, or at least thought a lot about it, more than you have. Or have they? Why don't you ask them about the economic structure of this town? Or what's a specialty dish here? Or what is this village famous for? Number 2, become besties with some random NPC. Ask them questions about this NPC that the GM has to start fleshing out this individual. Anything that you would want to know about your best friend, ask the GM to get this information about that NPC. And number 3, try to do non-standard actions. Like, hey, can I take this rope and attach it to this doohickey and try to swing over the lava and try to kick and punt that orc into the river? Why not? 3 things you can do to torture your...
I would have thrown up a title. You changed a lot of the imagery. That was really good. The content overall is great.
Your GM, they're going to thank you.
They're going to think, you know, you're moving around a lot. This is really good. You know, having that title in the very beginning. I think if you continue to make content like this, and this is kind of your approach, I think you'll find your audience. I think maybe the background music was a little too loud, but besides that, like, I don't have a lot of notes on this. This is a great video, great idea. Okay. Let's see. I think. Oh no, Suan was the last one. It looks like. Okay. Fantastic. Now we can talk about some next week stuff. Okay. So by next Thursday, I want you to have 3 creators that you like and you would like to emulate. Now, what I mean by emulate is like, well, I like how this creator, I like the kind of content they cover, or I like how this creator does this kind of graphic, or things about these different creators that you want to have in your videos. So that's kind of like, this is step one of the homework. Find other creators that you would like to emulate. Now, we're not copying these creators. They're just creators that you want to emulate. So you look at their content and you say, like, I like how they make their content, or I like how they cover this content, or I like how they approach creating content. And and then you're gonna comment, tag me with the creators that you want to emulate, and you're gonna put in there a sentence or two, 3 or 5 if you want to get ambitious, about what in that content you want to be able to emulate. So you might say, like, I really like how they frame their videos, or I really like how their graphics are. I really like, it could be any of those things. But start to analyze other videos on what you would like your videos to be like based off of those. We got some questions. It looks like I missed Daniel's video. Okay, let's see. Daniel's video. I don't see it. Someone want to comment in that thread. Drop it here. I don't see it. But I just commented in that Discord thread. If someone can drop it there, that'd be great. Right before Dungeoneer 80. Here, perfect. All right. Perfect. Thanks, team.
Mystery in your D&D game? Want some mystery in your D&D game? Don't skip this step. It's way too easy to write a mystery that your players can only solve one way, and then get frustrated when the players inevitably get lost. To avoid this, use the 3-clue rule. For every piece of information you need your players to find out, you need 3 different clues that will all bring them to that same piece of information. Why? Players will totally miss clues, they'll misinterpret the ones that they do find, and so you need at least 3 pieces of information to be pretty sure they're actually going to go in the right direction. Do they need to figure out who, where, and why? That's 3 pieces of information, so 9 clues. Maybe 1 or 2 sources can include more than 1 clue, but you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. And don't even think about including a red herring. Players will absolutely come up with those all on their own. Props to Justin Alexander who came up with this idea. Want some mystery in your D&D game?
Great. I think the hook could be better. I think the content is great. I think the way you're filming it is really authentic.
Don't skip this step. It's way too...
Like you said, don't skip this step. That's good, but I think we can have a bit stronger hook. I think the subtitles that you have could have been smaller because they take up a lot of space in the bottom, and so I would have done like a single line subtitles. You had some titles in the middle of it that you show up that, like the 3-clue rule. The information overall is good. The way you're kind of cutting the visual interest. This is a great video. There's only those tiny things I would recommend adjusting to it. Are long form content creators fine? Dreams? No, it's got to be short form because it's hard to pull. Like short form and long form are 2 different things. So we got to focus on short form. Thanks for asking. That's a great clarifying question. Okay. Let's go ahead and. Okay. Let me delete these. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we talked last week. Make sure that you have a fantastic profile, right? It links to a link tree or a beacon or something like that that has all your links. Let's make sure that you are like everyone post your profiles and ask each other to look at it, right? Is your profile clear? Let's see. If you have an email that you use for like a professional GM, have your link tree in that email. Make sure you have a signature that calls out like what you do. Okay, we talked again last week. We talked about don't do millennial pause. Talk to one person. Start with the action. Don't have a dirty camera. Remember, take this, clean your camera, clean your phone with it. Try not to make any videos that have 0 cuts. Try to get out that bad audio. Last week you wrote 10 ideas. I love that everyone came up with these so well. It was fantastic. We talked about making stories. Controversy is good for hooking people, tips and things that are relatable. We didn't have enough time this week, and we'll probably talk about it next week, is secondary social media. And this is where we're going to talk about Threads, Reddit, things like that, and how that can kind of drive like passive followers or passive engagement. Let's see. And next week, I want everyone to approach making the same type of video. Let's see which one we want to do. Let's see. I'm looking at my list here. I want everyone to make a video that is a 30-second trick to being a better DM. And you can say, in 30 seconds, I'm going to show you how to be a better DM. And I want you to make a 30-second video that is a tip to make someone a better DM. So we're all going to make the same thing, but that's one. You still have to make your same 3 other videos for a total of 4. But I want to challenge everyone to make something that's under 30 seconds, and it's a DM tip. Okay. And then next week, there probably won't be as much as a review. I will probably like pick and choose a smattering of them. Again, share when you share your 4, tag me. I'm going to kind of watch them, and I'm going to find some that I feel have insights that everyone will benefit from. And then maybe some that I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. This is really good. So I'm just going to highlight a few so we have more time for other stuff. But this is this week and last week, leaps and bounds team. I'm so impressed. Everyone were like really consumed and executed. So great job, team. Let's see. We have some questions. Do the content creators have to be RPG related? They do not. Question: is there some place to get guidance on a checklist for profiles? Playful Zealot. Your profile should say exactly what you do, and should have links or that allow people to go. It should have a link so people can find your stuff. In fact, let's see. We're keeping memes to a minimum. What about trends? You could do trends if you feel they can actually talk about what you do and build your audience. Mosaic Life. I missed yours. Ice Jewel. Go ahead and post it again. In there. I didn't see it when I went through, just kind of as was. I didn't see Ice Jewel. Dragon, DM Ethan. Did you post it first? Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, go ahead and repost it again while I'm here. Filming Young, we're keeping memes to a minimum. What about trends? Oh, we just answered that. I don't see it here. What is the deadline for the different parts of the homework? Everything is by Thursday. Aside from Ethan's notes, can you, Dev, make a pin post that's for the assignments this week? Yes. Ice Jewel, you going to post that link in the Discord? I just tagged you. If you can post that, I'll go ahead and review it real quick. How long is the mastermind? I think it's going to be 6 weeks. Let's see. Okay. Ice Jewel. Wait. Did Ice Jewel not comment? I thought I saw Ice Jewel say I didn't review theirs. But maybe I just made that up. Here. Oh, okay. Well, one video turned into a series of 6 videos. Oh, yeah, you didn't tag me in like which one you wanted me to review. So that's why I missed it, because I thought Marduk's was the one that was, because they tagged me in just one. So we'll just grab one and we'll see what happens. Okay. All right.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games. And I made this comment that was taught to play in probably the most boring way to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons. So someone asked me, what is the most boring way to learn how to play D&D?
I would have started this video with, I learned to play D&D the most boring way. That's the better hook. Rather than someone ask me that, because that's not about the viewer, right? Like, the viewer doesn't care about how you learn, like, no offense, but viewers don't care about us, right? They care about them. And so it might not be interesting to them, like, how you learned it, but when you say I learned D&D the most boring way, that is interesting.
Indeed. So I've put together for you 5 mistakes that DMs make when teaching new players how to play D&D. Mistake number 1, limit their imagination. The first time I played AD&D in 1990 something, I was told that I could only play a fighter because they didn't want to teach me how to play something complex. That meant that I could only play a man because female fighters were not a thing.
Boo.
And so my dreams of being a super cool female druid were squashed. Don't treat your new players this way. If your brand new player wants to play a witch that changes into a black cat every night at midnight, then give them a sorcerer or a warlock stat block and make them a shapeshifter and let them do the one cool thing that they want to do.
This is great. It looks like we have the cap cut or this black screen. So again, get rid of that black screen, edit that, make it a lot tighter. This is a really good video. This video could have been 45 seconds though. We could have started right away about like, hey, I learned D&D the most boring way. Here's one of the mistakes that was made. And then going into that, like, you know, I was part of that generation that the boys at the table, when it's so funny that the Macs do that automatically. But making that video that is really fast and to the point, because there was a little bit meandering, and that's fine, but let's kind of cut that out. And then when you're talking, I feel like it could be a little bit more energy into this point, because it's a great point. It's like, play the way that makes people feel like they are at the table and having a great time, right? Like, the actual content of that is great, but put a little more energy behind your speech as you're talking that out. So a little more fire in it. But great idea. I would have started with just right off the way, I learned D&D the most boring way ever. I know, isn't that insane, Nico? Let's see. Is there any other questions? How long is the mastermind? Okay, I answered that. Okay, great. So again, you're going to make 4 videos by Thursday. You're going to find 3 creators that you want to emulate by Thursday. And one of the videos you make by Thursday will have to be sub 30 seconds and a DM tip. That's what everyone's homework is. Marduker, I just want more Shadow Dark in the world. Oh, yes. Yes. I love it. I love it, dude. Marduker. I got them all. I love Shadow Dark. Sorry, that was very off topic. Okay, team, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I will see you in the Discord, and I can't wait to see what you guys put up next week. I think next week we will probably just do the 30-second video reviews. I actually probably won't be cherry picking. We'll probably just do the 30-second reviews and see how everyone has done with that. But if you guys could, this would be really great for me. This is a request. Can you make the post when you tag me all one thing? So it has the 3 creators you want to emulate, the 4 videos you made, and the video that is 30 seconds. Saying like, here's the 30-second video. So it's all in one chunk, so it makes it very easy for me to go through and find all these. That would be incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. Team, I will talk to you on Discord, and I will see you next week. Bye.
greetings from deep in your lair. We're here to tell you that your time has come. This is our kingdom today.
Who are the fools who would dare threaten me?
Dragon come forth!